Phillies today as they lost their game to the Braves yesterday, game 1 of the series. And this is why I wasn't about to say that they're back because they won a couple games against the Nationals. I didn't get a chance to react to this, and I found it fascinating.
I cannot wait to hear your reaction. That's what I want to hear.
So you guys talked about this yesterday. John Middleton's comments. Great article by Todd Zalecki on MLB.com. He spoke with with John Middleton, and here's the big damning quote.
He spoke before the series this weekend.
Here's the big quote that was making its rounds on social media. I don't think you can just sit there and say, "Oh, well, this happened and has happened before, and therefore we'll turn it around." And I don't think you can be that passive. I think you have to be pushing and pushing people to rethink what they've been doing. That's coaches and that's players. Everybody has to step back and say, what are we doing wrong? Why is a team that was winning at a 700 clip for 3.5 months now playing at a 325 clip for the last 5 weeks?
Who is he talking to? Give me if you could say he's clearly talking to somebody.
My first thought is Rob Thompson, obviously.
It's obviously Rob Thompson.
Now, I'm sure there are players. I've talked about the messaging and how that's bothered me when earlier in the season, if they lost a game, Kyle Schwarber would get in front of a camera and say, everybody in that locker room's pissed off. Then when a 4 or 5 week stretch happens and you're playing horrible baseball, it's a long season. We've been here before.
A little Hertz-ish from last year.
Yeah, and I didn't like that. So that could be also a message to the player. It could be a message to the entire team. But if you're asking me a specific person,
correct,
it's going to be Rob Thompson. And the other thing that he said, quote, the first week was bad, but that happens. The second week was worse, but that happens. By the time we got to the third and fourth week, it was like, okay, stop. And I don't blame John Middleton, who is paying a ton of money for a roster. Does he expect them to win 120 games? No. Does he expect them to probably remain at a 700 clip? Absolutely not.
No, he doesn't.
But for what has happened over 6 weeks now, and the third worst record since the All-Star break, and a couple of nice wins against the freaking Marlins and Nationals, and then you go out there yesterday and you basically lay a goose egg against the Braves, except for a JT Realmuto RBI single. I don't blame John Middleton for starting to send the message of, all right, it's time to freaking wake up, all of you. And I liked it. I like that it's coming from up top because I'm tired of hearing the players and the manager himself, and I like Rob Thompson. I'm tired of hearing it's a long season. It's been a long season for the last 2 months.
I have heard, even in our own building, Mike Missanelli the other day, defending Rob Thompson's approach and everything. And a lot of what Mike said was factual and true. Players do love playing for Rob Thompson. You know why? Because they're freaking comfortable. Because they're comfortable. When your boss doesn't push you, when your boss doesn't hold you publicly accountable, of course you're going to like your boss. When your boss doesn't lay the hammer down and doesn't hold people publicly accountable and doesn't call out BS performances like last night, of course you're going to like your boss. I'm tired of hearing it. And I'm tired of hearing about 22 and 23. This team was up 10 in the division, was up 8 on the Brewers, was up 6 on the Dodgers. You wake up this morning behind the Dodgers, tied with the Brewers. I am so freaking tired of hearing people go, well, you know what happened in 22 and 23? All that matters is October. When you're up by 10 games, when you're up by 8 and 6, you are not supposed to then have those teams come back and get you. It is absolute ridiculous. The defense of this manager and the approach. His own boss doesn't believe it. But we have people in this building that believe it. And look, there are things he does very factually that he does well. But of course you're going to like your boss. If your boss says, yeah, you need a little extra time. Yeah, that's a little extra time. There's no urgency. It's 8. We're on 9 weeks now of this malaise.
Right. Yeah.
Enough.
Middleton's saying 4 or 5 weeks. No, it's even longer.
It's not.
It's 2 months.
John Middleton. The other day I heard Ray Dunn on the midday show with Mike Missanelli and Bill Colarulo that he had some statistic and he's going, stop saying this is 8 weeks or 9 weeks. Their record really is. It's been this short.
That. Yeah, it's only been since the All-Star break.
Oh, my gosh. Don't calculator whip me. It's been freaking terrible.
Because I heard that.
Stop it. They're a below 500 team for over 2 months. Stop it.
Right. Ray was saying, look, if you just look at the last couple of weeks, they've been, 10 games under 500. But if you do the whole 2-3 months, then they play right around 500 baseball. But here's the problem to Ray and to anybody else that believes that. They should be better than a 500 baseball team.
Is 500 baseball acceptable?
Exactly. No, it's horrible.
Are we now
for this team?
Are we now using a $250 million payroll this year alone? A team coming off of a World Series 2 years ago, NL Championship Series last year. Are we now using, for 2 months they've been like a 500 team. Are we now using that as, okay, that's hey, I'm putting my money down. That wins this argument. No. Stop setting standards that are so freaking low.
Andrew,
that don't hold people accountable.
I asked John and Connor this yesterday. You said you liked the comments, and I agree with the sentiment of the comments. I just don't know if I agree with the messenger. You've been the best team in baseball, or you're not anymore, but you've been that for the majority of the year. Say in some far fantasy away world, if the Cowboys were the best team in football for the majority of the season, and then they hit a rough patch, and then Jerry Jones comes out and says something like this, would we laugh at that? Or would we say that's a great comment by Jerry Jones?
If the rough patch all of a sudden, football is a totally different beast. If the rough patch had you as a one